Let's begin by taking comfortable meditation posture and closing the eyes, putting our attention on that deep silence that always is there in the mind. Connecting with that silence, become the silence. You are the silent witness. Now listen to the Yoga Vasishta from the level of the silent witness. Book 4, chapter 54, continuing with verse 17. Thoughts repressed from other objects and fixed in the silent witness will enable one to do what is impossible for others to affect. Kill your desire by desiring nothing. Turn your mind from all things by fixing it in the silent witness, which you can easily do yourself. Our desires being quelled, all worldly cares come to a standstill, and all our troubles are put to a dead stop. Our wishes constitute our minds, hearts, lives, understanding, and all our other faculties of desire. These are all only different names for the same thing, without any difference in meaning. This same thing is individual karmic traces. There is no other business in our lives when dominated by individual karmic traces than to desire and to be doing, and when done, to be desiring again. As the endless craving is rooted out of the mind by establishing oneself as the silent witness, it sets it free from all anxiety. The world below is as empty as the hollow sky above us. Both are empty nothings, except that our minds make something or other of them agreeably to its desire or fantasy. All things are unsubstantial and unsubstantiated by the silent witness. The world being only a creation of our fancy. The karmic traces arise in something essential desire, but there is nothing substantial in these karmic traces for you to think about. Our reliance on unrealities, fantasies produced by karmic traces, proving them to be unreal leaves no room for our thinking about them. The suppression of their thoughts produces a perfection of detachment This suppression of thoughts arises spontaneously when we become the silent witness. There is nothing more desirable on earth than to be the silent witness. Therefore, forget all that is unreal. The proper discernment of things will preserve you from the excess of joy and grief, both produced only by the karmic traces. The knowledge of the vanity of things will keep out your affection or reliance on any person or thing. The removal of reliance on the world removes our attachment to it, and consequently prevents our joy or sorrow at the gain or loss of anything. The mind that becomes the silent witness stretches out his city of the world by an act of its imagination, and then turns it about as the present, past, and future world. The mind that is lost in the individual karmic traces is subject to the emotional, sensational, and willful feelings of those karmic traces, and loses the purity of its intellectual nature, and plays many parts by its sensuousness. The living soul also forgets the nature of the silent witness from which it is derived, and is transformed to a puny animalcule in the heart of man, where it plays its pranks like an ape in the woods. When lost in the karmic traces, desires are as irrepressible as the waves of the ocean, rising and falling in expectation of having every object of the senses. A desire is like every piece of straw that is lit by fire, and it burns and blows out in its invisible form. Our desires are as fickle as flashes of lightning. They proceed from the bed of individual karmic traces, like lightning bolts from watery clouds. They are equally fleeting and misguided, and must be speedily avoided by the wise, who are established as the silent witness. Desire is undoubtedly a curable disease, as long as it is a transient disease of the mind, which is produced out of the activities of the karmic traces. But desire becomes incurable when we lose our connection with the silent witness and become deeply rooted in the bed of karmic traces. Knowledge of the unreality of the world arises when we are established as the silent witness, and this quickly cures the disease of desire. But the certainty of worldly knowledge makes it as incurable as the impossibility of removing the blackness of coal. What fool will attempt to wash a coal white, or convert a materialist to a spiritualist? Or turn a raven or black man to white? The mind of a man is like a grain of rice covered under its husk, which is soon husked upon the threshing floor. The worldliness of the wise is as soon removed like the husk of rice and the blackness of a cooking kettle. The blemishes of a man are blotted out by his own efforts. Therefore, you must try to exert yourself to action at all times. Taking action while established in the silent witness is a powerful way of balancing your individual karmic traces. When one reaches moksha level 1, mountain ranges of karmic traces remain. If we take the foolish tact of sitting in silence and refusing to take any action, captured by our spiritual ego, thinking ourselves enlightened, having the notion that no action is necessary, we have reached the goal. Even taking the foolish step of exiting the body and taking Mahasamadhi early, then we will confront our individual karmic traces in the celestial realms. There it is very difficult to maintain the silent witness when confronted with the incredible beauty of the celestial realm. So soon we're back, lost in ignorance once again. But do not refrain from action. It will challenge your connection with the silent witness. And that challenge of the connection with the silent witness will make the connection even stronger. it becomes stronger because as the actions are performed while established as the silent witness, the karmic trace that caused that action is immediately balanced. But this is not to say we should take all actions that arise. We must use our discernment. From the level of the silent witness, we know the divine karmic traces. We know the will of the divine in this universe. We know the laws of nature. And if the karma that is arising, spurring the action to be performed, is not perfectly in accord with all the divine karmic traces, we will notice this. So instead of taking the physical action, this discernment will immediately balance the karmic trace, and the impulse to action will disappear. Therefore, we begin taking only actions that are spontaneously in accord with the divine karmic traces. This is the meaning of Krishna's exhortation in chapter 2, verse 48 of the Bhagavad Gita. Yogastha Karu Karmani, established in the silent witness, perform action. That means we literally perform the physical action that is caused by the karmic traces, if it is in perfect alignment with the divine karmic traces. And our discernment that the action is not in alignment with divine karmic traces is sufficient to immediately balance that karmic trace. So the entire day is transformed into the most perfect session of balancing karmic traces, and we make excellent progress toward the higher levels of moksha. In Kali Yuga, in a physical body, there are mountain ranges of individual karmic traces to be balanced. But the environment is not as enchanting as in the higher celestial realms. So we're not dissuaded from remaining established in the silent witness, giving us an excellent opportunity for great progress. He who has not been able to master his vain desires and hobbies, whims in this world, will find them vanish of themselves in no course of time. Nothing false can last forever. When one is established in the silent witness, this is a timeless, eternal state. From there, we have the full range of the course of time before us. We can apply the light of reason, which removes the false conceptions of the world. Just like the light of a lamp dispels darkness from a room at sight, and night vision removes the secondary moon. The world is not yours, nor are you of this world. There is nobody or anything here related to you, nor are you related to any. Never think otherwise, or take the false for true. Never foster the false idea in your mind that you are master of large possessions and pleasant things. Know yourself, and all pleasant things are for the delight of the silent witness, the supreme maker and master of all. Chapter 55. Vasishta and Dasura meet. Further description of the Kadamba forest. Vasishta said, "Hear me, Ram, who is the delight of the Raghu's race, and shines like the moon in the firmament of Raghu's family. After I heard the conversation between Dasura and his son, I descended from the sky to the top of the Kadamba tree, which was decorated with its green leaves and beautiful fruits and flowers. Then, with my spiritual body, I set myself slowly and silently on top of the tree. As a light cloud descends on the summit of a mountain. I saw Dasura there, sitting like a giant by subduing the organs of his body and shining with the luster of his penance, like fire blazing with its flame. The light issuing from his body reflected purple gold in its seat and lit that spot like sunbeams emblazon the world. Seeing me present myself before him, Dasura spread a leafy seat for me to sit down and then honored me according to the rules of ceremonial law. Then I joined with the luminous Dasura to continue his discourse, which was meant for the edification of his son and salvation of mankind from the miseries of life. Now let us proceed, established as the silent witness, and begin Trimana Sanyama on the esoteric Mahamantra. To quickly balance all individual karmic traces that have arisen and have been enlivened by today's reading. Jai Gurudev.